It was supposed to be a modern fairy tale, a fresh take on a classic. But instead, it turned into something else entirely. Mockery, backlash, viral memes, and a satirical takedown that left Disney scrambling. What happened to Snow White 2025 wasn't just a controversy, it was a meltdown, and at the center of it all stood Rachel Zegler. Let's rewind. Because the first signs of trouble weren't subtle, Rachel Zegler wasn't shy about her opinions on the original Snow White. In interviews, she called the 1937 classic weird, said the prince was basically a stalker, and made it clear that her version wouldn't be about true love at all. Instead, it would focus on a woman becoming a leader. To some, that sounded empowering, but to millions of Disney purists, it was heresy. Clips from her interview started spreading. People weren't just angry, they were stunned. Fans who'd grown up with the original felt insulted. And the criticism wasn't just coming from one demographic, it spanned generations. Older viewers slammed her for disrespect. Younger viewers questioned her tone. And before long, the internet had turned Rachel into a meme. That backlash didn't stay online. Rumors started flying about chaos behind the scenes. Talk show appearances for Rachel? Suddenly canceled. Late-night promo spots? Quietly pulled. Disney blamed scheduling conflicts, but insiders claimed the studio was deliberately keeping her out of the spotlight. Then came the whispers about reshoots, major ones, entire sequences being rewritten, disputes over tone and dialogue, tension between Rachel and Gal Gadot, who plays the evil queen, only added fuel to the fire. And all of this was happening while fans were still fuming over the initial interviews. Enter South Park. The infamous DEI parody didn't just poke fun, it went in with a flamethrower. Rachel Zegler's animated double was portrayed as a shrill, arrogant diva. The fictional version mocked the 1937 original, lectured everyone around her, and insisted her new Snow White was going to save society. The satire was brutal, and the internet loved it. Clips of the episode went viral within hours, memes exploded, fans dissected every line, pointing out eerie similarities to Rachel's real-life quotes. For some, it was comedy gold. For others, it was a final nail in the coffin. According to insiders, Rachel was not laughing. Sources close to her claimed she was blindsided and livid over the parody. She allegedly wanted to respond publicly, clarify her stance, defend her version of the film, but Disney reportedly told her to stay silent. The reasoning? Damage control. Executives feared that any statement would only reignite the backlash. They wanted the fire to burn out on its own. But instead, their silence became the story. Rachel's frustration reportedly hit a breaking point. Quiet rumors suggested she was even considering legal action. Whether that was a threat or a genuine plan remained unclear. Either way, her relationship with Disney was quickly unraveling. Inside Disney, it was all hands on deck. Bob Iger, back in charge as CEO, was holding near-daily meetings, trying to navigate the growing disaster. Executives were scrambling to figure out how to salvage not just the film, but the company's reputation. This wasn't just about a bad trailer or poor test screenings. South Park had taken a PR crisis and turned it into a punchline. And when a top-rated satirical show turns your billion-dollar film into a meme, your options shrink fast. The stakes couldn't have been higher. Disney's recent track record, bombs at the box office, struggling Marvel content, and subscriber losses meant another failure could be catastrophic. And Snow White was supposed to be a win. The tension didn't stop with Rachel. Fans noticed something strange at a major awards event. Rachel and Gal Gadot, co-stars in Snow White, avoided each other entirely. No photos, no interviews, no interaction. Just cold distance. Rumors of friction exploded. Some claimed Rachel felt overshadowed. Others said Gal had improvised lines that Rachel didn't like. Allegedly, scenes were re-edited to dial back the evil queen's role so Rachel's character would shine more. And when South Park depicted Snow White yelling at the evil queen for stealing the spotlight, Viewers couldn't help but wonder, was it satire or just accurate? But this wasn't just about one film or one actress. The Snow White controversy tapped into something deeper, a cultural tug-of-war over nostalgia, modern values, and representation. For every viewer furious over Rachel's comments, there was another defending her vision, and South Park poured gasoline on the fire. Their parody wasn't just mocking Rachel, it was mocking the entire system. DEI casting, corporate hypocrisy, the hollow promise of reboots. For many, the episode felt like a mirror held up to a studio that had lost its way. Where does that leave Rachel Zegler? Some reports suggest she's distancing herself from Disney, looking for other roles, trying to move on. But the shadow of Snow White 2025 looms large. Casting agents are watching, studios are watching, audiences are watching. If the movie flops, the fallout could follow her for years. If it somehow turns into a hit, redemption might still be possible. But with each canceled promo, each new rumor, and each viral meme, that road gets harder to walk. And Disney? They're reportedly rethinking everything. Public statements hint at pulling back from risky reimaginings. Internally, there's talk of scaling down controversial themes and focusing on timeless storytelling again. Too little, too late? Maybe. This was supposed to be the rebirth of Snow White. Instead, it became a cautionary tale about modern Hollywood, social media storms, and the thin line between bold and reckless. Rachel Zegler's outspoken stance made headlines. South Park's parody turned the drama into spectacle. And Disney, the studio that once defined fairy tales, was left chasing its own happily ever after. But whether Snow White 2025 succeeds or fails, one thing is clear. This story won't be forgotten. Not by fans, not by the media, and definitely not by anyone who watched one of the world's most powerful studios get roasted by a cartoon. Because in the end, the fairest of them all wasn't the princess, it was the chaos.